15 Ghost Recon Wildlands tips and tricks to help you get ahead whether you just picked up Ghost Recon Wildlands or you've been playing it for a while. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Chris with Blind Man's Bluff Gaming. Welcome back, and man, I hope you're doing awesome. If you're new to the channel, are you looking for more Ghost Recon Wildlands tips and tricks videos? Then go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And make sure you click that notification bell if you want to be notified when I go live. Alright guys, to start with, let's go with the general tips. Tip number 1. You can hold in B while swimming to go underwater to remain undetected.
Richard, do I have a mark on my face? It really hurts.
Nope, nothing. I thought I hit you on the shoulder.
My shoulder doesn't hurt very much, but my face does. Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
Nope. Ship shape.
Tip number 2. You can get info from certain civilians. Tip number 3. You can call in rebel support skills from your drone. So basically you can get a bird's eye view if you want to call in something like the spotting skill. Tip number 4. Going prone will help you avoid detection, and this has saved my bacon more than once. Even if they can detect you really well, if you're crouched and you go prone, they'll lose you in most cases. Tip number 5. Make sure to pick up the bonus medals in a province. It'll normally be one of the last things that shows up, but you definitely want to pick them up because they're key for your upgrade trees. Tip number 6. When entering a new province, only get the intel for the missions you're working on, such as rebel ops, rebel support skills, or skill points. This way you can find what you're looking for a lot faster. Tips for side missions for gathering resources.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
Now the first one is for airplanes and helicopters. Tip number 1, scan the area and mark the pilot for a sync shot to take him out. And make sure you take out that pilot when you make your assault. Tip number 2, make sure to walk into the area to avoid detection. If you're playing single player, your AI teammates will tell you when you have enemies close. Tip number 3, if there is a SAM, a surface-to-air missile installation, deactivate the generator. Now you can deactivate the generator by shooting the light near the off switch on the front panel, and you can also use an EMP drone. However, with the EMP drone, it will put the enemies on alert. And to activate the EMP effect on your drone, you just have to click the right thumbstick, which for some reason it doesn't tell you. Anyways, another thing is you can, now if you do get targeted by a SAM, just fly left and right like in an S pattern and you'll be able to dodge the missiles no problem. Tip number 4, launch a rebel assault just before grabbing the aircraft because all hell's going to break loose. Tip number 5, if you're playing single player, your squad mates will respawn in your vehicle if you leave them behind it. And basically they'll always do this, which is kind of nice, so you don't have to worry about them. Tips for stopping convoys. Tip number 1. If you have the rebel support drop-off skill to level 3, use a helicopter to get close to the convoy and stay out of detection range, land, and then call in an armored vehicle to take down the convoy. Personally, I found this to be a lot easier. Otherwise, you're just flying there with your helicopter and they're shooting you and there's like, 5 minutes later. But the armored vehicle works really well. Tip number 2, press up on the D-pad to have your AI squad mates fire. Tip number 3, even if the truck is on fire or blows up, you can go up to it and press X and the mission will still count, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Tip number 4, shooting out the tires doesn't seem to work, you just end up damaging the truck. Tips for capturing lieutenants or high value targets. Tip number 1, have a vehicle ready if he gets spooked and takes off. Tip 2, you can use the EMP drone to disable any vehicles near the high value location. However, the EMP will put him on alert and cause him to flee. Tip number 3, the distract rebel support skill will also spook your high value target. Tip number 4, be careful using thermal vision. I have more than once shot the high value target by accident. Tip number 1, invest in the sync shot skill to get level 3 sync shot. Tip number 2, eliminate the guard towers and elevated positions first. Tip number 3, you can shoot the ground or the alarm box or a dude, and your squad mates will eliminate their targets. Tip number 4, when trying to capture an airplane or helicopter, mark the pilot for a sync shot so they don't take off with your plane. Tips for assaulting a base. Tip number 1, scan thoroughly and mark first. If you have it upgraded, you can use the Rebel Support Spotting skill for marking. You can call in the Rebel Support skill with the drone, so it gives you a bird's eye view of the whole base, and it works really well. Now if they do have a jammer, you can still mark everything in the base using your binoculars. Now if possible, mark the generator and deactivate it. Tip number 2, dispatch elevated enemies first, like the guard towers. Tip number 3, next dispatch ground level guard posts and the stragglers. Now the distraction grenade works pretty well for drawing them out. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. Tip number 4, shoot out alarms. Now you can see their flashing box near the top of the alarm. Now note, any shot will trigger sync shots, so be aware of that. And you can also deactivate alarms by disabling or destroying the generator. Now you can disable the generator by sniping the light that is located on the front panel near the off switch. Tip number 5, you can shoot out lights just like in Splinter Cell. Tip number 6, if you shoot and miss, especially with a sniper rifle, the base will go on alert, so make sure you got your shots lined up. Tip number 7, upgrade your binocular skills. Now later in the game you're going to run into bases that have jammers that won't allow you to use your drone, and having binoculars leveled up will definitely help. Tip number 8, sometimes it's just easier sneaking in and sneaking out, especially if you're trying to get information or intimidate a high value target. It's sometimes just easier just slithering in and trying to slither back out. Tip number 9, if detected, call in guns for hire to either help eliminate the base's hostiles or give you time to run away. Tip number 10, if detected, drop a mortar on the generator to disable the SAMs, alarms, and lights. If you are looking to stay up to date with the latest gaming tips and tricks videos, then go ahead and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Until next time guys, this is Chris. Have an awesome one.